Sometimes, the hardest part about understanding someone's feelings is that they're not always expressed through words. Especially when it comes to men, emotions can be complicated. Society often teaches them to hold back, to stay strong, and not to show vulnerability. Because of that, many men end up hiding what they truly feel, especially when it comes to love or emotional connection. But just because someone isn't saying it out loud doesn't mean they aren't feeling it deeply. Love doesn't always come in the form of big romantic gestures or dramatic confessions. Often, it's hidden in the smallest moments, the quietest looks, or the tiniest changes in behavior. A man who's hiding his feelings might act completely normal on the surface, laughing with you, being friendly, talking about everyday things. But if you pay attention, there are subtle signs that give him away. These signs may seem like ordinary behavior to some, but to someone who's emotionally aware, they're loud and clear. Why does he hide it? Maybe he's scared of rejection. Maybe he doesn't want to ruin a friendship. Maybe he's not even sure how to handle what he's feeling. But in the middle of all that hesitation, his heart still speaks, just in a different language. And if you can understand that language, you might realize that he's been showing you his feelings all along. This kind of emotional hiding is actually more common than you might think. Some guys believe that showing emotion makes them look weak or makes things too complicated. So instead, they choose the safer path, subtlety. But here's the thing. Feelings always find a way to come out. No matter how hard someone tries to suppress them, the truth shows up in their body language, their words, their actions, even in the way they look at you when they think you're not paying attention. In this piece, we're going to explore 12 specific signs that reveal when a man is secretly into you, even if he hasn't said a word about it. These signs might be small, but together, they paint a picture of someone who feels much more than he's letting on. Whether you're trying to figure out where you stand with someone, or you've had a gut feeling that there's more beneath the surface, these insights will help you see things more clearly. So if you've ever wondered, does he like me but is just hiding it? Keep reading. The signs are all around you. You just have to know where to look. 1. He stares at you when you're not looking. When a man hides his feelings but often stares at you when you're not looking, it's one of the most telling signs of unspoken affection. Eye contact can reveal emotions that words often conceal. And when someone looks at you quietly, without trying to catch your attention, it shows a deep level of interest that he may not be ready to express verbally. He might look away quickly the moment you notice him staring, acting as if nothing happened. That quick glance, that soft focus on you when he thinks you won't notice, it's subtle but meaningful. It's his way of being close without being obvious. These quiet stares can happen during a conversation when someone else is talking, when you're focused on something, or even in a crowded room. While he might not say how he feels, his eyes often speak for him. This behavior usually comes from a mix of admiration and emotional hesitation. He may feel unsure about your feelings toward him or afraid of rejection. So instead of expressing what's in his heart, he watches from a distance, taking in the way you speak, smile, laugh, or carry yourself. It's not just about physical attraction. It's about genuine curiosity and emotional connection. People often underestimate how powerful these hidden glances can be. But for someone holding back his feelings, watching you becomes a safe way to stay connected. Even without words, that gaze can say everything he's not ready to admit out loud. 2. He quickly changes the topic when it gets too personal. When a man quickly changes the topic whenever a conversation gets too personal, it's often a clear sign that he's hiding deeper feelings. He might seem open and talkative in general, but the moment the discussion shifts towards emotions, relationships, or anything that could reveal his true intentions, he deflects or diverts. This behavior doesn't come from disinterest. It usually comes from fear of vulnerability. He may be afraid that if he opens up, you'll see through him, that his emotions will become obvious and hard to take back. So instead, he keeps things light, playful, or surface level. When you ask something like, "Do you ever feel that way?" or "What kind of person do you like?" he might laugh it off, joke around, or quickly steer the conversation in a different direction. It's a subtle defense mechanism, and many people don't even realize they're doing it. This kind of avoidance shows that there's more going on beneath the surface. If he truly didn't care, he wouldn't feel the need to dodge anything. But the fact that personal topics make him uncomfortable suggests he's feeling something he's not ready to share yet. His heart might be more involved than he's letting on, and switching topics becomes his way of protecting that emotional space. It's not rejection, it's hesitation. And in many cases, it means he cares more than he's willing to admit, even to himself. 3. He remembers small details about you. When a man remembers small details about you, it's a quiet but powerful sign that he's emotionally invested, even if he hasn't said it out loud. These are the little things most people overlook: your favorite snack, how you like your coffee, a story you once told about your childhood, or even something as simple as the way you get nervous before a big meeting. He holds on to these details not by accident, but because he genuinely pays attention when you speak. This kind of attentiveness isn't something you can fake. When someone cares, their mind naturally holds on to the pieces of you that matter, even the ones you didn't expect them to notice. Maybe he brings up something you said weeks ago, or he checks in on something you casually mentioned in passing. It shows that he not only listens, but that what you say stays with him. He might not always compliment you directly or express his emotions in grand ways, but remembering the small things is his subtle form of affection. It's how he stays connected without putting his feelings fully out there. In his silence, his memory speaks volumes. Even when he tries to hide how he feels, this attention to detail gives him away. Because remembering small things is never just about memory, it's about care, effort, and a quiet kind of love that's felt more than said. He gets jealous, but doesn't admit it. When a man gets jealous but doesn't admit it, it often reveals emotions he's trying hard to keep hidden. Jealousy, in this quiet form, isn't about control or possessiveness. It's more about his internal struggle with feelings he hasn't fully accepted or confessed. He might act indifferent when you talk about another guy, or pretend he doesn't care when someone flirts with you, but his body language often tells a different story. You might notice a subtle shift in his mood. He becomes quieter, changes the subject, or even throws in a light joke to cover his discomfort. Sometimes he might act more distant or suddenly try to get your attention in playful or sarcastic ways. It's his version of protecting his pride while still reacting emotionally to the idea of someone else having your attention. Since he hasn't expressed his true feelings yet, admitting jealousy would expose him too much. So instead of being honest about it, he hides behind casual behavior, hoping you won't notice what's really going on. But deep down, that jealousy comes from a place of care. He values your presence, your attention, and the connection you share, even if it's unspoken. His silence isn't a lack of emotion, it's an overflow of it. And while he might never say, "I'm jealous," the way he reacts when someone else enters the picture says everything he's trying to keep inside. His friends tease him when you're around. When his friends tease him whenever you're around, it's usually because they've noticed something he hasn't said out loud, his feelings for you. Friends often pick up on the subtle signs, the way he looks at you, how he changes his tone when talking to you, or how much effort he puts into making you smile. Teasing becomes their way of calling him out, playfully exposing what he's trying to keep hidden. You might hear them say things like, "Oh, look who it is," or "He's been talking about you all day," followed by laughter or him quickly brushing it off. He might roll his eyes, laugh nervously, or tell them to stop, but his reaction is usually a mix of embarrassment and silent agreement. Because even if he denies it in words, His body language, blushing, smiling, or getting awkward, often tells the real story. Guys don't usually get teased by their friends without a reason. That playful teasing is usually built on some truth, and in this case, it's likely that his feelings for you are more obvious to them than he realizes. It's also a sign that he's talked about you when you're not around, enough for his friends to notice that you're more than just someone to him. Even though he may not say anything directly, the teasing from his friends becomes a signal. He sees you differently, and they know it. Sometimes what he hides, his friends accidentally reveal. 6. He finds random reasons to text or call you. When a man finds random reasons to text or call you, it's rarely ever just random. These little check-ins, sending a meme, asking a small favor, or pretending he forgot something you once said, are often his way of staying connected without making his feelings obvious. He may not be ready to confess how he feels, but he still wants to be part of your daily life. He might text you about something that doesn't really need a conversation, like asking your opinion on a movie he's probably already seen, or sharing a funny story that could have waited. These moments seem casual, but they serve a bigger purpose for him, keeping a consistent thread between the two of you. It's his way of saying, "I'm thinking about you," without actually saying it. Calling you for advice or to check in is another subtle approach. Maybe he wants to hear your voice, or find comfort in your presence, without admitting how much it matters to him. These calls may seem short or casual, but they're often filled with intention. He's reaching out not because he needs to, but because he wants to. These random messages are his excuse to be close. They're often disguised as friendly or harmless, but they reveal his need for emotional connection. It's a soft kind of vulnerability, hidden behind a screen, where he can express interest without the risk of being too obvious. And in those little moments, his feelings quietly speak louder than words. 7. He compliments you in a subtle way. When a man compliments you in a subtle way, it's often because he's trying to express his feelings without making things too obvious. Instead of bold, straightforward compliments like, "You're beautiful," or "I really like you," he might say things like, "That colour looks nice on you," or "You always know the right thing to say." These soft remarks may seem casual, but they carry a deeper intention. He notices you, and he admires you, even if he's not saying it directly. Subtle compliments are his way of testing the waters. He wants to see how you react, how you respond, and whether you feel something too. He may avoid saying anything too strong because he's afraid of crossing a line or being too vulnerable. But in his quiet, careful words, he's still showing appreciation and admiration. He might compliment your intelligence, your sense of humor, your energy, or the way you treat others, things that go beyond surface-level attraction. These kinds of compliments reveal that he sees more in you than just looks. He's paying attention to the little things that make you, you, and he wants you to know. Just not too loudly. Sometimes, he'll deliver the compliment with a smile or in a joking tone, trying to keep it light. But his eyes, his timing, and the fact that he noticed at all are what truly matter. It's not always what he says. It's the feeling behind it that gives his hidden emotions away. 8. He gets nervous or awkward around you. When a man gets nervous or awkward around you, it's often a sign that he's feeling something deeper than he's willing to admit. This nervous energy doesn't come from discomfort. It comes from caring too much about how he appears in front of you. He might stumble over his words, laugh at the wrong time, fidget with his hands, or avoid eye contact, especially in moments when things feel a little too real or intimate. He could be the most confident person around others, but when it's just you and him, that calm demeanor shifts. His voice might change slightly. He might become overly cautious with his words, or try too hard to be funny or charming. That awkwardness is his way of coping with emotions he doesn't quite know how to handle yet. These moments often happen when there's a chance for vulnerability, like when you're complimenting him, standing close, or sharing something personal. His nervousness reveals that your presence affects him more than he's letting on. It's not fear, it's pressure. The kind that comes from wanting to make a good impression on someone who really matters. Instead of smooth lines and perfect confidence, what you get is real, unscripted emotion. And while he might try to hide it or play it cool, those small slips, those unsure smiles or quick glances, are often the most honest signs that his feelings run deeper than he's ready to say. 9. He supports you more than anyone else. When a man supports you more than anyone else, especially without expecting anything in return, it's a strong sign that he deeply cares, whether he admits it or not. His actions become louder than his words. He shows up when you need help, listens when you need to vent, and encourages you when you're doubting yourself. He's not just present in the big moments, but in the small, everyday ones too. He might offer advice when you're unsure, motivate you when you feel stuck, or even defend you when you're not around. It's not always dramatic or loud. Sometimes it's as simple as checking in before something important, reminding you of your worth, or being the first to celebrate your wins, no matter how small they are. This kind of consistent support usually comes from a place of emotional investment. He might not have the words to express how he feels, or maybe he's afraid of changing the dynamic between you. But his steady presence, his encouragement, and the way he always prioritizes your well-being speak volumes. He supports you not because he has to, but because he wants to. Your happiness matters to him. Your growth matters to him. And even though he might not say, "I love you," or "I like you," his loyalty and care are a clear reflection of what he truly feels. In a world full of distractions, someone who quietly chooses to show up for you again and again is rarely doing it without emotion behind it. 10. He always notices changes in your appearance. When a man always notices changes in your appearance, even the small ones, it's a quiet but meaningful sign that he's paying close attention, likely more than he's letting on. Whether it's a new hairstyle, a different outfit, a new lip color, or even just a change in your mood that shows on your face, he picks up on it without hesitation. That level of awareness doesn't come from casual interest. It comes from genuinely seeing you. Most people won't notice the little things unless they're really tuned in. But when someone likes you, even the smallest detail becomes important. He might say something like, "Did you do something different with your hair?" Or, "That color looks great on you," in a way that sounds offhand, but it's not. It means he's watching you, noticing you, and appreciating you in his own quiet way. Sometimes he won't say anything at all, but you'll catch a glance, a second longer look, or a smile that tells you he saw the difference. He might get a little shy or playful about it, pretending not to care much, but deep down, it's his way of showing that you matter to him. This kind of attention is subtle but sincere. It's not about being obsessed, it's about being emotionally present. And when someone consistently sees the little things you change or do, it means they're emotionally connected, whether they admit it out loud or not. 11. He tries to impress you without making it obvious. When a man tries to impress you without making it obvious, it's a subtle game of showing you his best side while pretending he's not trying at all. He'll put effort into the way he dresses, the way he speaks, or how he carries himself when you're around. But he'll do it in a way that seems casual, like it's just who he is. But deep down, it's intentional. He wants you to notice, without feeling like he's trying too hard. He might suddenly become more thoughtful, helpful, or funny when you're near. He'll mention something he's achieved, not in a bragging way, but just enough for you to hear. Maybe he offers to help you with something, talks about a project he's working on, or tells a story where he comes off looking capable, smart, or kind. It's all part of quietly standing out in your eyes. You'll notice that he puts in extra effort when it's about you, showing up on time, remembering things you like, or doing something that aligns with your interests. But when you compliment him or call it out, he might downplay it or act like it's no big deal. That's because he wants to impress you without putting pressure on you or revealing too much of his own emotions. This subtle approach often comes from someone who cares more than they say, but is cautious about being vulnerable. He's trying to win a place in your heart, little by little, without forcing it, just hoping you'll notice the quiet effort behind it all. 12. He cares about your opinion more than others. When a man cares about your opinion more than others, it's a strong indicator that his feelings for you run deeper than he lets on. He might ask you what you think before making a decision, or look to you for reassurance, even in small things like what he's wearing or how he handled a situation. Your approval matters to him, not out of insecurity, but because he values your perspective in a way he doesn't with everyone else. You'll notice he listens more closely when you speak, and even if others offer their thoughts, it's your response he really reacts to. Whether it's about his work, his goals, his appearance, or even just a random topic, your opinion tends to carry more emotional weight. He might not say it outright, but his actions reveal it. He adjusts, reflects, or changes based on what you think. This behavior comes from respect, admiration, and a desire to connect. When someone is emotionally invested, they naturally want to align with the person they care about. He's not trying to be someone else for you, but he is showing that what you think genuinely matters to him. Even if he pretends to brush off your feedback, he still remembers it, and often lets it shape the way he moves forward.